Hi, this is Your Writing Coach, Episode 7. I'm Amy Brecount White, and I'm so glad you could join me again today. We've been talking a lot so far about pre-writing, getting ready to write, doing your research, gathering your evidence, things like that, and we will continue to talk about that. But today I want to talk about one of the most important things in sentence construction. So we're talking about, your sentence by sentence construction of essays or research papers or whatever you have to write. And we're going to focus in particular on the verb, because I believe, along with many other writing experts, that the verb is pretty much the most important part of your sentence. If your verb is not strong, if your verb is not active and doesn't move a lot of the times, you will end up with a weak sounding, possibly wordy, meaning you're taking too many words to say what you can say, what needs to be said, and passive sounding also if you don't have active verbs. So those are things you want to avoid. And choosing strong verbs, jump, ponder, skid, slip, all sorts of things like that can really enliven your writing and carry your reader along, move your reader along with you as you write, which is what you want to do. You don't want your reader to feel static. You want your reader to feel like they're going along with your argument or going along with your adventure or whatever it is that you're writing about. So what is a weak verb? Most writing experts talk about the to be verbs: am, is, are, was, were, being, been, forms of the to be verbs. Not that there's anything wrong with just being, particularly if you're meditating or outside enjoying nature, something like that. It's great to just be. But when you're writing something, again, you want to carry your reader with you. So relying too much on the to be verbs, am, is, was, were, be, being, been, etc., will make your writing weak, and we want to avoid that. In fact, my daughter's teacher in high school would penalize her, give her a lower grade if she used more than two to be verbs on one page, which is about 250 words typed. So that's how important it is that an English teacher would actually deduct from your grade if you used too many to be verbs. Another problem with using too many to be verbs is often that leads to sentences that start with it is, or there is, there was, there were, something like that. And that kind of sentence construction is one of the most common mistakes my students do, and a real flag, a red flag in your writing if you have a lot of sentences that belong with there is, there was, it is, it, etc. Because those subjects are weak. Because there really isn't a subject. It, sometimes you need to use it as a subject, but more often than not, you can find a better subject. So let me give you some examples of that. One of my students wrote one time, there was a lot of fear swirling in my head about chemistry. And in a lot of ways, it's a good sentence. It's specific. You've got that fear swirling. It's a nice image. But the writer could make it much stronger by just eliminating the there was and focusing on that strong verb swirled. So rather than saying there was a lot of fear swirling in my head about chemistry, just say fear of chemistry swirled through my head. You've also cut words. You've made it more concise. Strong writing is concise. People don't want to waste their time reading extra words. And in a lot of cases, you don't have space to spare. If you're writing for newspapers or publications, or if you're writing your college essay, you have very strict word counts, and you don't want to waste words on something that you don't need. Becoming aware of the verbs in your writing is a skill that will take a little while. Even now, if I'm writing an email or writing a rough draft of something, I'll catch myself starting with it is or there is. Sometimes that's just our kind of lazy default setting. But as you practice this and as you edit yourself, you'll become aware of how important verbs are in sentences and use them more effectively. Okay, so let's take a couple examples of sentences, and I thought what we do today is a little bit different, and I'll give you a sentence that I think you can make stronger. So I'm going to read a sentence, put it on the screen, and then I want you to hit pause after you read it, and on a pencil and paper on a separate doc, whatever, just play around with that sentence and see if you can make it stronger by making the verb stronger. Okay, so sentence number 1. It was good to see my cousin again. Okay, pause and rewrite that sentence. Okay, so what's the problem with it was good to see my cousin again? Well, it was. Well, who's it? Who are we talking about? It was. Okay, well, there's no agency. There's no subject. There's nobody claiming this emotion of good to see my cousin. So hopefully what you wrote is something more along the lines of, I enjoyed seeing my cousin, or even I was thrilled to see my cousin again, or I felt gratified. I felt happy to see my cousin again. Something like that, just making it better and claiming that agency by avoiding the to be verb and using a stronger subject. Okay, let's do another example. And this is, some of the examples I'm using are from things that my students have written over the years. This is the kind of community that I want to learn and grow in. Okay, look at that sentence, pause the video, and see how you can make that sentence stronger. So what's the problem with the sentence? Again, this is, it's vague, it's wordy, it doesn't, express as importantly what this writer is feeling. It doesn't express the writer's emotion as effectively. So it's easier and stronger to just say, I want to learn and grow in this kind of community. And you might even say, this vibrant community, this diverse community, this stimulating community, or something like that too. But claiming that ownership, I want to grow, rather than this is, which is kind of out there somewhere with nobody really having that agency and having that desire. So it's much stronger to have strong subjects, strong verbs. Okay, last sentence. Okay. Whether it was map navigation or wound dressing, there was always a valuable lesson to be learned. Okay, this is a senior writing in a college application draft, and let's try to make this stronger. Pause it, you can see it on the screen, and then come back and we'll talk. Okay, you can see this student has both it was and there was in this sentence. This is a personal essay, so the student should be using I and should be claiming that agency, because you certainly do not want to come across as passive versus active in your college essays. You don't want to come across as a passive person. Do people want to hire passive people, or do they want passive people on their college campus? No, not really. They want people who are going to dive in and get interested and get other people interested and take initiative and all those kinds of good things. So if you change this, you need I and you need stronger verbs. So you could say something like, whether I was studying, perhaps, map navigation or wound dressing. Or you might say, whether I was exploring map navigation or wound dressing. I always learned a valuable lesson. Okay, again, that's strong subject, claiming the verb, stronger verb, not was to be learned. Was to be learned is passive. Who's learning it? I don't know, someone out there in the spaces was to be learned. No, I learned it. Okay, so when you write, choose strong verbs, write concisely, choosing strong verbs, avoiding it is, there was, etc. usually makes your writing more concise, and it usually makes your writing more active, more interesting, more liable to draw your reader into it. So again, today what we are talking about is one of the most important things about your sentence construction. We will in the next episode talk about how to take that evidence document that I had you create and move that toward a rough draft. But I wanted to do a little bit something different today with looking at, as I said, the nitty gritty of writing. Okay, so what's your assignment for this session? So what I'd like you to do is think about an adventure. While we're talking about verbs are active. So think about an adventure. And it can be an adventure that you've already had that you might enjoy sort of reliving through writing. Or it could be an adventure that you really want to do. Once we all get out of this COVID-19 situation and we can go out and have adventures maybe with somebody you really enjoy, or maybe you want to go to a place that you've always wanted to visit. So regardless of whether you're writing something you've done or something you want to do, you look forward to doing, do a little research. So if it's something you've already done, look back at those photos. Maybe if you shared that experience, talk to a few people about it to help jog your memory, remember some vivid scenes, remember even you might remember something somebody said, you could use a quotation. Or if it's an adventure that you haven't taken yet, but you really like to take, go ahead and do some research on that adventure. You might read some articles that travel writers have written about it, or read, even a Wikipedia article about it. A lot of destinations have, their own websites, and you could read through that and sort of imagine what your adventure is going to be. But write a paragraph about this adventure. It's either going to be in past tense, if verb will be in past tense if it already happened, or will be in future tense if it's something that you're looking forward to. But whatever tense it's in, be sure to avoid it is, there was, etc. And look at your verbs. Now, don't worry about that too much in a rough draft. But after you write one draft, go back, look at it, read it out loud. Did I make that mistake of using too many to be verbs, which are going to make it wordier and possibly sound passive, or like you're not the active person that you want to be and taking charge of your own life. All right. So thank you very much for stopping by today. I appreciate it. As always, I'd love to read what you've written. You can leave it in the comments below. And take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you at episode 8.